Hi everyone, this is Gail Scott again, and I am very excited today to bring you another channeled message. Now, this one is from the 8th Dimensional Barr Council, and they have been with me for a while now, and their messages are always about allaying fear. They are very succinct, I would say, in what they want us to know when it comes to managing the fear that is on our planet. So they've come back again, reiterating something that they've said before, that this spring equinox, we know it's the start of something very new on our planet, a shift in energy and a shift in light, and also a shift within our DNA, within our physical bodies. And they're telling me that there are light photons that are increasing exponentially on the planet now in order to assist us with this dimensional upgrade that we're going through. If you're not sure what that means, then please refer back to one of my previous videos that talks about 3D, 4D, and 5D, and it will explain what that means for you. So here we are. They have told me that they've come through this time to assist us again with this evolution from a human perspective and to help us to understand it better, because there are many, many more changes coming down the pipeline. So how do we cope with this present moment, this moment that we're living in right now? They've mentioned that we have a tendency as human beings, our minds tend to either ruminate on the past or we project into the future. And that's the way that we attempt to control what has happened and the outcome of what is to happen. But that's not going to be our future. They want to assist us in how to be more in the now, how to be more now in the present. And so, and in it being able to be more in the now is actually how you and I truly live our lives. When we are focused on the past or predicting into the future, we're not really here right now living what's currently in our environment. And so it's not to say that we don't think about that, but it's not fully embodying being as a human being here on planet Earth. So it happens because we live in a third dimensional world with the nature of linear time. And so we do have memories and we do project because we're trying to control what's going to happen. They've mentioned that they think it's a fun exercise for us to do. It's an interesting way for us to live our lives, but it's not actually living in the current moment. And so they said, as I've said before, that the third dimension is a very heavy, slow vibration. It's filled with many emotional difficulties that cause us to have to process them. But we're actually moving out of that dimension now. And we've been in this energy for a very, very long time, and it's known as the Kali Yuga. But we're processing out of that state into this higher evolutionary state in order for our species to upgrade. And they've mentioned before, this is a predestined upgrade, and that as we live more in the present moment, letting go of what has happened in the past and not being concerned with what is going to happen in the future, you will find that time tends to stand still. And so there is no time. No time actually exists. That's a whole other conversation. But they're saying that these changes that are going to happen slowly, and over more time, we will assimilate this kind of present moment vibrational awareness. And they've said that this vibration is going to be embodied into our bodies so that we'll become more attuned to this new energetic medium. They've called it a soup of energy that we sit in. So yes, there's more changes coming, and these changes are going to help us. They're going to help to acclimatize us, our minds, our bodies, our spirits, into what is going to become this new dimensional reality they've called the fifth dimension. But before we get there, we have to go through the fourth dimension, which is this transition state, which is really fraught with so many new experiences for us in all kinds of ways at all levels, whether it is the things that you think, the way that your body reacts to something, how you feel emotionally, realizations about the reality that you're living in, the perspectives of who you are and how you've been and how you want to be, who you're becoming. And so all of these things are going to be coming forward for you with a level of consciousness that you have not really had before. And so we're all individuals, right? We're all separate and unique, and we all have our own vibrational level depending on what we've experienced and how we're living and the way that we exist within this soup of vibration. This is the way that they've described it to me. And they've said, we are not automaton cyborgs or robots. We're not all the same. And if we were, it would be very boring for all of us. So they've said there's a lot of variety among us. And that variety creates what they're calling this vibrational alphabet soup, meaning that each one of us has a lot to contribute greatly to the whole based on what we've gone through. And as we move through this transition, we need to keep in mind that each one of us is unique and we are different and we are separate. And that there's a bigger picture here, even though we are all unique, separate, and distinct. And the bigger picture is that we're actually all one. And in order to live in this third dimensional reality, we had to create a certain level of separateness in order to exist, in order to have our lives, in order to have the game, play the game of life that we play. But just like the grains of sand on a beach, this is one of the analogies that they've given me. There are millions and millions of grains of sand on the beach, and they're all unique, but they make up the beach. And it's the same with snowflakes. You could look at a whole pile of snow that's landed, and it looks like it's just all one big piece. But actually, if we took our microscopes down and we looked at it from a closer perspective, we would discover that actually there's a lot of individual pieces to that. So they're saying each of us is individual and we make up the whole. And yet it's the soup of all of us together that creates this big picture of our current reality. So they want us to become more aware of the community that we live in. So yes, we have been living in a very individualistic life, but we are actually a global family. And although it seems that we're very separate because we live in separate homes and we have different families, separate families, we live on individual continents, we are actually all connected very intricately through our technology that we have, the internet, and that this new technological advance that we've created, this new communication strategy called the internet, because it is global and it covers the entire sphere of our planet, we now realize that we can actually connect with anyone living anywhere on the planet. And so it assists us. And so even though we might feel that we are separate and distinct where we are in our country or our town or our home, we are actually all one unit. And just like the beach is one beach and the snowfall is one snowfall, we are a species, we're a community, we're a group. And so we need to recognize that each of us plays a part and each of us affects one another depending on what's going on in our lives. So we need to notice what's actually happening in other parts of our global community, in other parts of our world. And they've brought specifically the way this pandemic has been organized and affected in how we've coped with it. And so they're saying that although some of us still believe that we're very separate from anyone else. So I live in Canada, and so the way that we are handling it in Canada, you could say, well, that's, very separate from another country, for example, Australia or New Zealand on the other side of the world. But they're saying it's not actually that separate, and that different groups in the world, different parts of our larger group have come up with some solutions that might actually help some of the rest of us. And so they want us to begin to notice that there are solutions that are coming forward from different parts of our global family that really we could be impacted by quite extensively. So they're suggesting that we expand our horizons of knowledge and look at some other areas that might actually help us. And that we should really openly educate ourselves on what's going on in other parts of our world. And we should look and read their news. We should read their articles. We should listen to their dialogues. We should discuss with them if there are people that we know there or groups that we're involved in, and we should talk to them and find out what they're doing. Look at what their governments are doing compared to ours. And this is a global message that's coming through. So even though I'm in Canada, this message is just as true for you if you're living in Spain or the United Kingdom or Finland or wherever. And so they're saying that if we are to do that, if we're willing to look at what other countries have done, other parts of our global family, then we will actually learn, mature, and evolve faster by seeking out the differences of what others are doing during this time. They're also saying that it's not that one solution is better than another. They're saying that there are a variety of ways of dealing with it that will bring us closure to this pandemic situation. But it will be faster than if we just try to figure it out by ourselves in our own little community. And so they're also mentioning that some of the bodies that are organizing relief from this situation are not, in fact, bringing solutions that will work for us. And so they're saying it's important that we go to the ground level and that we speak to and listen with other people who are, in fact, creating better changes. Now, when they say the word better, they don't mean better in that it's more effective. They simply mean that it's more vibrationally helpful for us. So as they've said, there's not one way to solve the problem. There's not one solution to the situation. But because we are very effective and we are they're calling us an idea-filled community, because we are unique and we can bring different perspectives and possibilities to solve any problems, they're saying that, we can access this information in order to bring a solution to this pandemic situation. They're saying it's not a problem. It's just a situation that is less than ideal for us at the moment. Because we are moving into another state, and this state that we're in right now is almost like a war experience. Now they're saying we're not using the word war in the way that you think of it, but we are using it in getting you to recognize that this is a state of change that we're experiencing. An upgrade, they're saying, is a better way to describe it. But we as a humanity, we understand the word war because when we think about the evolution of our species, it's been in war times that we've really made the greatest inroads and the biggest changes for ourselves. So they're saying, begin to look to others on our planet, not where we are, but in other areas, and see how they are existing during this pandemic. Look at how they're coping with things and managing the situation and moving through and evolving during these times, and look at it from the perspective of peaceful negotiations and peaceful changes, things that are the least detrimental to us on the planet. And so look at how have they moved through these changes with the least amount of harm to us as a species. Because there are many offerings out there right now to bring us through this situation. And we need to look at them fully and completely to decide if those offerings are the most effective for us at any particular level. Now, they're saying this communication, this transmission is really a global message. It's directed at the entire planet, to anyone who chooses to listen to it, no matter where you are. Because there are many individuals who are working very hard to bring resolution in a peaceful way to this situation, coming from the light, coming from love. And because we are unique individuals, there are many people coming at it from very unique perspectives, where they're perhaps looking at it just from their own self. They said not self-centered, but just from a place that is to their own benefit rather than for the benefit of the whole. So they're recommending that we open up our minds, that we be curious, that we begin to look at these things from all angles and to really connect and decide from a heart-centered place whether something feels right or not. And that this is the best barometer for us to know if something is in our highest good. Ask yourself, does this solution feel right to me intuitively? Is there any coercion, manipulation, or persuasion going on? Do I feel that as I'm being offered this solution? And they're suggesting that if we do, as an individual or a group, feel that this is happening, then maybe take a step back and decide whether or not this particular solution is one that actually works for us, that we do have the right as individuals and as human beings and as one of the parts of the whole to really reassess whatever solution is coming forward and to really connect to our own hearts and to our own sense of self as to whether or not it feels right for us. They're saying it's not that we want you to instigate any kind of defensive reaction because that's not helpful. So you don't need to get mad at the people who are giving you one idea of one way to solve the problem. They're just suggesting that you look at it and decide whether it works for you and whether or not you as an individual unit of the whole, can you really begin to understand and connect to what works best for you? Because if something doesn't feel right for you and doesn't work for you, they're saying then do some research. Look at other proposals, look at what other places and people have done. And going back to the analogy of the grains of sand on the beach, recognize that there are so many possibilities and alternatives because of how many of us there are here. And so you really need to expand your level of consciousness and awareness by not just accepting what's coming down the pipeline, but acknowledging that there's more people here with more ideas and solutions than just the loudest voice. And so they're suggesting that many, many smaller voices put together can join together and create a louder voice to bring completion to this particular situation. So they're saying, remember, we are united from a global perspective. We're all the same, even though we are unique and different, but there are different perspectives on our planet. And so when we reach out to other news channels from other countries, when we read content from other articles from other countries, when we talk to people from other countries and we begin to connect with people who maybe think more like we're thinking or giving you a new idea, then this may actually create for you some different perspectives for you to actually connect to. And it's actually, it might be a little uncomfortable. You might realize that there's some things that you're just not okay with. And it's not that they're encouraging you to be in any way defensive about that or anything. They're just saying, diversify your thought process. Begin to notice how you yourself can play a part in the creation of what is coming, this new vibration that we're moving into, that you have something to contribute, and that you can connect with others who can contribute in a major way for our humanity to move forward with this. They're saying, don't be like everyone else. Think for yourself, decide what works best for you, and really recognize that that inner intuitive knowing that you have is always going to guide you in the most accurate and highest good perspective for you. They also are telling me that they're going to bring more alternative new ideas and suggestions for us because they feel that it's time now to be able to assist us in a much more direct way. So this message is very clear. We as a species recognize that even though we are individuals, we are part of the whole, and we can complement each other. We can learn from each other. We can use each other's knowledge, research, information, ways of coping, and strategies to perhaps create something different that is heart-centered and love-based and filled with light. And that you as an individual have a responsibility, not just to yourself, but to everyone on the planet, to be part of that. That is why we are so all intimately connected. And we are going through this challenging time, and it is not particularly easy right now. But when we are united as a global group, then we have a much stronger voice in creating the kind of world that we all want to live in. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I'm very excited to have brought it to you. I love the Barr Council. They are just wonderful. And if you like this kind of information, please go to my website, boseinternational.com, and go to the channeling page, and you will find lots of other messages that they and other councils have brought through to me. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and please share this information. Please share this with anyone that you feel is open to hearing about this kind of content. And I would be most grateful for that. So until the next time, until my next channeling comes through, I wish you well. And I hope that you take heed of this message and begin to expand your knowledge base around what is possible in terms of shifting the energy that we have on our planet. So thank you very much for listening.